there. Come right on in, friends. This is Homekeepers. So glad to be here, and you are so welcome. It's just wonderful that we can get together about 5 days a week, and I hope deal with things that are really important to us. And I love the name, Homekeepers. Some people write to me, housekeepers, housekeepers, and then there's the homemakers and all. But when you think of homekeeper, a home is more than a house. I think it was Mark Twain who says it takes a heap of living to make a house a home. And so it's got just a much broader connotation. And then when you put keeping with it, that's the heart cry for this program. So I have a feeling that you understand that. And our topic today is one that every home should really be concerned about, no matter your station in life, no matter your age, no matter whether you're married or single, because we're dealing with our children in America. Everybody should care about that. And so I've got Heide Janshon back, and she comes to us once a month, and we try to tell you and give you information on something maybe you've never heard of till today. It's called Common Core, but it's being deeply and deeply entrenched into our educational system, and you need to know exactly what it is. And the reason I like Heidi is because she's not a politician and she's not an educator. She's a mom who got very, very concerned when her son brought home some homework that seemed to be from outer space. And thank God, and God has opened doors for her. It's really quite thrilling. I know this is kind of an odd metaphor, but it's almost like Esther going in before the king. I mean, she's had some audiences with some high-ranking people in education, and we know who opens those doors. And I wonder how many recipes there are for leftover turkey. Well, we've got one for you today. I'm sure you have a lot, and feel free to send them to us if you want, but we've got one today, and we call it Turkey Biscuit Stew. So it's really a full, complete entree. Before I join Stephanie over there and we finish hacking up that turkey, I want to again offer you a book I really feel very strongly about. Your tongue determines your destiny. The reason I say this, I heard one young man, I don't know how old he was, maybe 9 or 10 years old. He said, "My mother's so cranky in the morning." It wasn't my son, by the way. But I thought that is his impression. That is what he is getting. So, especially within family relationships, it's good to watch your tongue and your tone and all these things, but it's good for any kind of a relationship you have. And we're offering in this book, I strongly urge you to get you to read it. If you took to heart what's in here, it'll make a better person out of you. So, for that gift of at least $14.95, friend, that includes shipping and handling. That's got to be the best bargain around. And so, if you use your credit card, 1-800-229-0059, or write to me at box 6922, Clearwater, Florida, 33758, and we will get it out to you. And now I'm over here with Stephanie. I had a little microphone problem there. My microphone pack fell. I think I'm good.
Okay.
But if you hear a crash, you'll know that this pack fell off.
Yes.
Okay, what are you doing?
Okay, so I have a 1/4 cup of butter and I have some onions here that I'm sauteing. Can I do a little PSA real quick?
Oh, of course.
My little public service announcement for today. I want to show my injury. Where am I here?
Get your handkerchief out. This is going to break your heart.
You can't really see it that
Right
far
here.
away.
Right here.
It's kind of far, but straight irons, they're dangerous.
She put it on her hair and it ended up on her arm.
I was straight ironing and it touched my arm and it burned really.
That's quite a burn. I said that's a 3rd-degree burn. Really?
It's open, look.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Oh, poor baby.
That's my PSA. Be careful with your hair straightener.
I had a hairdresser once just lay the barrel of a curling iron. I look like I'd been
What
in
we
a
do,
war.
seriously.
Oh.
So look good. Okay, so I have the onion sauce. I'm going to make a roux, okay? So
I don't do anything
you're
on this.
You're going to open the biscuits here shortly.
Oh, my.
Okay. Don't
do you know
scare
one time when
Don't make it scary.
Linda Brown was here, we did it and it exploded?
Yes, I remember that.
Oh, you do? You were here then?
Okay, so I'm going to make a quick roux here. We're just going to cook the flour out. Yummy. So you're all ready for Christmas.
Oh, no.
Almost.
Well,
You're
I'm on the
closer now than you've ever been, right?
I'm on the shopping end, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that exciting? Oh.
I think I'll wait. You got to
Wow,
finish all
you
that stuff
scare
first.
me. Okay, so I'm just cooking the flour out. 'Cause
Yeah.
you don't want it to taste floury.
Yeah, you have to let it brown a little bit, right,
Yeah.
to get rid of that floury taste.
Yeah. And then we're going to put in 3/4 cups of milk and 10.5 ounces of...
You want the milk first?
Sure. Let me get this
Slowly.
cranked up. And then we have 10.5 ounces of chicken stock that we're going to pour in there. And you can go ahead and pour that and it can get bubbling up.
Don't you wonder how many leftover turkey recipes there are in the world?
I just made turkey pot pie the other night out of our chicken pot pie recipe that we had with the Biscuit, and it came out
That is a wonderful recipe.
I use it all the time.
It's not totally unsimilar to this, but the Biscuit is nice.
Yeah, the Biscuit is really nice, but I think these biscuits are going to be tasty too. It's not going to open if you don't peel more of that. Peel more off. Got to open up the whole. There you go. Cooking with Stephanie. How to open biscuits. Oh my gosh.
All right. These are the buttermilk big ones.
Okay, so this just has to, I got it on high. It just has to thicken up real quick. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, we have it's a cup of carrots, I think.
A cup of cooked carrots.
Yeah, you cook those a little. I wouldn't cook them till they're mushy, though.
No. You want a little.
And these are frozen peas that you just steam.
And leftover turkey.
Leftover turkey.
You want another PSA while we're standing here?
Oh, yeah.
Another way to save money, watch your insurance receipts that you get from the insurance company, okay? My daughter went to the doctor at the beginning of this year, okay? And I'm usually very good at watching this stuff. I don't know what happened, how I missed it, but they put in the wrong doctor's name to the insurance company and they denied it. Well, I did not see that at the time. And the doctor's office didn't send me a bill till like 2 weeks ago for the appointment at the beginning of the year. So I had them resubmit it to insurance, and insurance won't pay because it's been too long. So now I owe for that doctor's appointment. So always, always, always watch every insurance bill.
That is awful.
Watch every
What kind of time frame are you talking about?
She went at the beginning of the year. It was February.
Well, it wasn't your fault.
Had they sent me a bill immediately, I would have been able to follow up. So but not totally their fault. My fault too, because I should have really been watching.
It's true. I look over grocery bills and everything.
I mean, just you have to keep an eye on everything you do. Okay, peas. We're thickening up here.
I think I told you about that one where I started looking at when I was going to pay the bill. Because I use credit cards so that they serve me.
Yes. Get points, get money back.
The credit card people lose money on me.
Yes.
They really do.
And you want to put some turkey in? And what happened?
Well, I started looking at it. Said I had bought these clothes at Walmart, and I've never bought clothes at Walmart. So it was 3 or 4 weeks later, so I went to the service. I said, I don't know if you can do anything about this, but I've never bought. She said, well, we'll have to have the boss look at it. Or whatever. This lady came, and took my information. She was gone 10 minutes. She came back and says, you did not buy those. They pulled down, apparently, a video of me standing right there. And she said what happened, the register froze, or the scanner. And the lady ahead of me bought them and never registered.
You bought for her?
I hope she's enjoying
Thanks, ladies. No, so there you go. Watch everything you do,
yeah.
especially now with identity theft and breaches and everything. Okay, so that's yummy deliciousness right there that we're going to pour in here. And I'm going to cover it in biscuits, and then you bake it.
And look.
How delicious is that?
And boy, do you have a hearty meal. Your husband, your family should be able to feel very satisfied when they leave the table on this one. I would put a nice green salad with it, and that's it. You got some vegetables in there.
It's like a turkey pot pie.
Yeah, it is. But, and I suppose you know, if you don't want to do the whole crust thing, you know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't put the carrots in, but.
How come?
Yuck. I like raw carrots. I don't like cooked carrots.
There you go. It tastes like a really good
chicken or turkey pot pie. Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. See, that's delicious.
I think it tastes as good as Marie Callender's.
You have leftover turkey. This could be put together in 5 minutes.
So if you'd like to have this recipe, we'd be glad for you to have it. You can email me, and we'll email it right back to you, just like that. And if you write to us, the address will be coming up on your screen. Be glad to send it to you, no cost. Stay with me. I want to teach you something about Common Core.
If you would like a copy of today's recipe, just write to the address on your screen, or you can email your request to arthelene@rippy.org.
All right, at the top of the show, I told you my guest's name is Heide Janshon, and she is a mom, a wife, a mother, a Christian, and a businesswoman. She's knows a lot about Mary Kay. You have a lot of people under you. That's great. It's a wonderful company. But also, she noticed some downright wacky math that her 10-year-old son was bringing home, and that started a kind of a new path for her, although she's on many paths, but this one seems to me like some really good doors have been opened. So I'm going to have her just give you a capsule of what we're talking about, give you a little foundation for it, and kind of give your story again. Not all of our viewers have heard the problem that your 10-year-old son was having with math.
Okay, so that was a little bit over a year ago, where Titus, our now 10-year-old, he was in 4th grade and he was struggling with some math homework, which he's a math genius actually. Now he's in 5th grade and he's taking 6th grade math and he's got an A in it. My issue was that you have a teacher's guide, you have the child's workbook, and both of those are at school, but there was no parent's guide. And I was not equipped to help him with his homework because I said, well, let's just do multiplication like we've always, like I've learned it. And he goes, no, I can't look at that. And I'm like, why not? That's a standard algorithm for multiplication. And he said, but we're learning strategies. And I said, what are you learning? Show me. And he couldn't because he didn't have the resources with him to show me, and he was stumped.
Did they make them leave those books at school?
Yeah.
And nothing to help the parents?
No, but
there is. Do you believe that's intentional?
Yeah, no, well, and there's online help, but how many children in our counties have no access to computers? I think that it's taken for granted that there's a computer in every single home, and lower income families just don't have that access. They're spending hours at night at the library in line waiting for computers.
Is that right?
Yes.
And so you, how did you finally get an example of this math problem?
Well, I did write the teacher, and then I wrote the principal, and then I got lots of interesting responses as to how the Common Core now, the Common Core state standards require certain levels of expectation for our children to attain, and that they are making them ready for to be competitive in a global society, and that the standards were more rigorous.
That's a key word.
Buzzwords.
And if you hear your teacher say rigorous, red flags should go up.
So yeah, so I just started delving into researching this whole, where did it come from, and came from the Race to the Top, which was an initiative proposed and put into place by President Obama in 2009. And so there was money that was dangled out for the states in order for them to accept the Common Core state standards, sight unseen. They were not written yet by a group of non-educators, 29 people. Who'd never spent a day in a classroom. And so 48 of our 50-something states accepted them, accepted the money, and in essence accepted the blank check, the standards.
Are some of the states trying to back out now?
They are.
Because of people like Heidi, because people figured out. Now, to me, as a Christian, to me it's diabolical, it is not honest. It's almost demonic. Why? Have you figured out that answer?
Well, it's got to be, it's control, Arthelene. And when you can dangle the puppets from one central location, where you've got a set of standards that are copyrighted, that are not changeable by anybody, they can add up to 15% to them, the states can, but they cannot alter the base standards at all. So for those lower grades where they're not age appropriate, where they're expecting kindergartners, 1st and 2nd and 3rd graders to reason beyond their brain development, and they can't be changed, you're handicapping the teachers because the curriculum is dictated by the assessments, which we'll talk about, and of course the standards, what's sandwiched in between. The curriculum, when they say, but you know, you have a lot of flexibility with the curriculum. No, you don't.
And I hope the viewers caught what you said, that all of this is proposed and presented and actually formulated by non-educators. That's why personally, I believe we could save a lot of money, get rid of the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., return it to the states, to the counties, to the local school systems, and they've always served us well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to tell you, I think that this whole issue has lit a fire under our local school boards. I mean, I don't know how much activity our school board in Pasco County has seen since I've taken up communicating with them. I think they probably wish that I would go away, but now...
Wish you would move to Montana.
Really, Montana would be blessed, wouldn't they? But
I praise God for you.
But, you know, now most of the counties around Florida have taken to writing resolutions speaking out against the high-stakes testing, which is the Florida Standards Assessment, which is to be administered starting in March. It's crazy how much our children are tested.
Yeah, we need to help viewers, and maybe me, understand that this testing is so far into outer space. Very few kids can get it maybe the first time, and then is there a cost to take it again?
Well, yes. Well, the counties are paying for each student to take a test is like $30. So who's getting paid that? The companies that have developed the test.
And the publishers?
Yeah. How great is that? And then when they have to retake the exam, guess what? There's some more money.
More money.
It's huge. It is absolutely huge. There's a tremendous push to privatize schools and to move towards charter schools.
Absolutely. And it's going to make homeschools just
so mushroom. Everyone is affected.
Okay, now, before we get into even, to me, the worst part, and that's putting your kid in a computer and following the rest of their life, no privacy at all. Tell the parents and grandparents, you know there's more than 1 million children being raised in the homes of grandparents today.
Yes, there are.
Yeah, and they actually can opt out of these foolish tests. So tell them how you do that.
Okay, well, I've got an article here that says anti-testing groups help students opt out of Florida standardized tests. Yes, there's been a push by parents and parent groups to have districts say, no, we're not going to administer these high-stakes tests. However, our legislature is standing in our way. And so we know that government doesn't move very quickly. And so they're getting ready to go back into session. Next Tuesday, I actually am meeting with Senator John Legg, who is the chairman of the Florida Education Committee for the Senate.
Open door.
Yeah, so, and they did try to cancel on me the other day because his aide said, well, you know, you're not a constituent of his. And I took him back to this newspaper article that actually said where he was willing to listen to anyone. And I said,
anyone.
And I'm anyone. And I said, I'm an anyone. It didn't say in this article that you would listen just only to your constituents, but he was saying in this article that he hasn't heard from the school board members in the counties that he represents, so he didn't know what the big deal was. And I said, oh, well, you will hear from us now. And so the whole opt-out movement is really, parents are afraid to instruct their children not to take this Florida assessment.
Have you done this?
I'm planning on it.
Yeah. And are there any steps? You just send a note, or?
Well, your child can actually sign their name at the top of the exam and push it aside. Or your child can stay home. But really the proactive thing to do, and in which I've talked to my children's teachers, is to please have a portfolio assessment ready. And so that is basically tracing their work from the beginning of the school year to the end of the school year so that the teachers can assess how well the student has done based on their classroom work and the tests that they took throughout the year.
You know, I have colleagues here who have wives who teach in public school. And I remember, it's been quite some time ago, how frustrated they would become at, and the quote was, teaching to the test. And then I began to read it in the newspaper, and I thought, well, what's the problem? Well, I know the problem now. And it removes all creativity from the teacher and from the student, completely.
It does.
The only object from the time that child comes to school in September and leaves in May is the test.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's not, and you know what? Our superintendent, Kurt Browning, bravo, I have to applaud him, is that he actually looked at the testing schedule on the high school level and said, oh my goodness, how many weeks are these students being tested? Where's the instructional time? We really need to do something to evaluate how much we are testing these children.
Well, that's a bit of encouragement, isn't it?
It is. It's tremendously encouraging.
So if a parent instructs a child, and maybe the parent should contact the teacher or something and say, little Johnny or little Leroy, whatever his name is, will not be taking this test. Now, do they penalize the children?
They can't. Yeah, by law they can't. And so I think a lot of teachers and a lot of parents are afraid. They think that they can be penalized, but they can't.
So we're going to put up a website. Well, it's actually a Facebook page, but we'll leave it up there. You have time to write it down. It's a little bit lengthy, but this will keep you so instructed, and people through Facebook, they can contact you, can't they?
They can.
They've got specific questions. And we want to get across to you that they can opt out of these ridiculous tests. Were some of these tests 3 hours long for a third grader?
Oh my goodness, they don't even know how long they are. They were 70 minutes last year, but everything is now going to be computerized, and they're expecting these third graders to keyboard at 24 words a minute.
And to think of the discouragement and dropping out of school that is down the road.
Oh, goodness.
Now, we wanted you to understand today that you could opt out of the testing, and if enough people do that, they're going to get the message. I wanted to talk to you about a womb to workforce data mining. Now, friends, this is so important because our privacy rights are just being chiseled away till there's almost nothing left. I want you to listen to this. There was a privacy advocate in Pennsylvania calling a halt, asking help from Governor Tom Corbett, that's Pennsylvania, from collecting, listen to this, behavioral data that goes beyond testing for academic knowledge. Common Core testing has been greatly expanded to include, listen to this, skills outside the traditional academic realms of math, social studies, and language arts. The information gathered can be used to create a psychological profile on each student from kindergarten.
Oh, absolutely.
And how many of us goofed off in school and maybe didn't do all that well? And I mean, your history books are replete with people like that who didn't cut it at certain ages as they were growing up, and then they became great leaders and thinkers and all. And this annihilates that.
Well, it does. It labels them. But there's a cloud up there. There's a data cloud being held by someone. And so the whole premise of Common Core is when you have that data, and I have an article here as well, that our federal government has devised a longitudinal data system, and is to make it clear that schools may share student data with outside contractors who perform work that school employees would otherwise do, such as electronic record keeping and testing. So we have a privacy act called the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, and I would encourage every parent to Google that, pull it up, read it, and know what their rights are, because
Okay, what was it again?
It's the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. It's called FERPA, F-E-R-P-A.
F-E-R-P-A.com or something?
No, you just F-E-R-P-A.
Just Google it.
Yeah, on ed.gov, and it's all right there.
Also, these have been given to outside contractors.
Yes.
All this, and Pennsylvania received $20 million to implement it. Hello, follow the money. That's usually what they say, isn't it? The deeper you get into this, it's frightening.
Well, here's the thing, is you get so many people out there and so many parents who are just like, oh, you're making such a big deal about that. Oh, it's no big deal. Our kids are just going to school. They're just being tested. What are they? They're not collecting data. I'm like, I beg to differ. What purpose does the Florida Standards Assessment have? You have to ask that. Does it help my student right now? Will it help my student next year? No, it will penalize the student and it will penalize the teachers and it will give the federal government data.
That's not a very good combination of facts there. This also states that teachers are constantly monitored by the system to make sure they're doing that.
Oh, absolutely.
This is communism. It also states that basically teachers are threatened with reprisals, including possible termination. When, with unions, how I've read that you can't fire a bad teacher, but
No.
with this, they're watching you.
They are. And you know what? Ask any teacher how much time they spend on administrative work and how much their administrators tell them that if they don't do the administrative work, like the paperwork and the data collection and everything, that their school will suffer financially and lose funding.
This is diabolical. We're almost out of time here, but one and there's something else to think about. It sneaks in under different names. It's not all called Common Core. One critic referred to this as a sophisticated brainwashing, which is exactly what it is. So the group fighting this effort says America used to educate its children and let them create their world. Now we are creating their world and forcing them to live in it. That's a sad situation, friends. One thing we need to do as never before is pray. Pray for our schools, our educators, and this, remember, this is a group of publishers, they're not educators, that have hijacked this huge American education system. It sounds like a joke almost.
It does. It's almost unbelievable. It's so unbelievable and it's happening right before our eyes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thank God for you and that God put us together and that we can inform the people, because I'll tell you, schools aren't going to inform you. None of that. Just bring little Johnny to school and we'll take him from there. So we've got just a few seconds. And so when you meet with the senator, what is the main thing you want to? Is it the testing?
Is to really talk to him about what he can do and what his vision is, because he is very much connected to Jeb Bush, and so he's very much sold out to Common Core, and I've got a ton of questions for him.
Mm-hmm. Well, I pray that as you go, the Lord will really quicken your mind and speak to you and speak through you.
Thank you.
I think this is one of the most important things we do here at Homekeepers, friends. And Heidi will be back next month. She's a regular on Homekeepers. I think this is such an important subject. Please write to us or email us your thoughts, your questions, whatever on this, and we'll do our best to get the information to you. But until then, join me next time, remembering there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. I've only said that a few times, so I got all messed up. See you next time.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.